With faith as his conductor and musical talent as his instrument, Mthunzi Namba pioneered contemporary gospel music in South Africa. We took in rehearsals for the latest album he's producing, The Fellowship.
The whole idea, it's more of the concept that the Lord laid in my spirit about creating a platform for worship leaders who are in different churches, who are not known. They lead worship every Sunday. Some of them are not doing it for money. They just do it for love. But some of them cherish the idea of recording an album. So the idea of the fellowship is not so much about the choir, but it's a gathering. It's the bringing together of different worshipers.
Like tenor Tobela Mpela, who sees this collaboration for its wider relevance.
People have been through a lot. People lost life, they were sick, and there's just a lot that happened, So I think it's going to give back to South Africa. It's time to come together and fellowship, regardless of whatever that we went through. But let's come together and come and fellowship.
To Tsecho Dlutla, this is a remedy for the soul.
To be honest, there's nothing that speaks to the heart like music. So whether you're talking about gospel or you're talking about something that's, more secular, nothing speaks to the heart and mind like music. It's therapeutic, it's healing, it is everything we need it to be.
To visit Mthunzi's home is to see how many hats he wears. Music producer, singer, songwriter, pastor, and property developer. It all began in KwaMashu.
So I grew up surrounded by a lot of music. I grew up listening to a lot of music. As a young man, I was playing soccer like everybody else. I was playing in the streets like everybody else. But for some reason, God had his hand upon my life. My big brother, he was a professor of music. There was an instrument at home, an old organ. We were told as young kids, don't touch that. Because when there's an instrument, they tell you don't touch because you're going to break it. But I broke that rule.
Which immediately paid dividends. The breakthrough which the young boy would make that day set him up for a career in music.
And while they were gone, there was no one at home. I jumped into that thing. I spent maybe an hour trying to figure out what he was playing. When he got back, I said to him, can I play you something? He got angry and he said to me, but I told you. I'm like, yeah, I know, but can I? And he said, okay, then I jumped in. He was like, who taught you that? From that day, he noticed something. Then he started teaching me some basic stuff. And that meant I'm out of the street now. I'm no longer playing the soccer with the guys. I'm trying to figure out this thing. The way Joyous Celebration came about and how we formed it. Lindlane and I started talking about, you know what, we need to do something after the transition that had taken place in our country, and now we were having a new democracy. How can we say to God, thank you? So we felt, let's come up with something as musicians where we would come together and say thank you, and we will celebrate through song. And then the name Joyous Celebration came into the picture, and the rest is history, because that's when we got everyone together, and it grew and it grew. Holy, holy. Give me more piano. I'm grateful that my family has been playing a major role in shaping what I do, motivating me, praying for me. And now what is amazing is that now my kids are writing with me.
In an industry of crazy hours and time away from home, he needs an understanding wife and daughters.
The best cook amongst these, I would say, it's an unfair question. My wife.
It's not a fair question.
she is. I mean, not only amongst the two, even amongst the people I know.
That was the right answer. And Tabile Namba is concerned with more than soul food. She's a pastor too.
So I've been always supporting him. Even up to now, after 32 years of marriage, I have been supporting him. I've been praying for him, even for his career. That has always been my stand. That has always been something that comes naturally, to pray for him, to push him, to encourage him, to tell him that he could be anything that God has ordained him to be.
Asanda Namba has seen her father work with legends like Hugh Masekela, watched as he became a solo artist, and she views one thread running through it all.
The greatest lesson that I've learned from my father would have to be to trust God. I've seen him, as a person who didn't come from money, but I've seen him work hard and I've seen him trust God to come through for him, and whatever dreams he has, he'll say like, okay, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I know my father. And he trusts God for the littlest things, for the biggest things, and seeing him trust God like that, even if it doesn't make sense logically, that challenges me in my faith as well, to trust God for everything that I need as well.
With faith as his own guide, Mthunzi in turn encouraged self-belief in his daughters, as Awetu Namba Sacha made clear.
One of the greatest lessons I've learned from my dad, because he has daughters, he would always sit us down and say, just because you're girls, it doesn't mean you can't strive for your dreams and have the careers you want. He would even say it doesn't mean you can't even have more than one career path just because you're a girl. So he'd always encourage us to work hard and almost like think smart and, not limit ourselves because we're girls.
Their father's accomplishments never daunt or pressure the sisters, only inspire them.
The legacy I want to leave behind is that of a person who liked to nurture and develop talent, and as a person who loved God and loved his family, and a person who wants to see people's lives impacted.
How different it might have been if he'd not broken that rule, reached out and played that forbidden keyboard as a child. Get more of the Insider Essay online. Follow, connect, engage, and be inspired to live better with the Insider Essay. Watch the show Monday evenings at 6, repeat Saturday at 1 on S3.